the IEO. Um, and yeah, I thought it was a very exciting experience, both the traveling as well as the studying, which is very difficult for it. And I'm a prospective, I'll be majoring in economics. I'm an incoming first year at Harvard College this year. So yeah, excited to meet all of you.
That's so cool. So Ricky, what about you?
Okay, thank you. So, hi everyone. My name is Ricky. I'm from Indonesia, and I think I am the oldest participant here, or the oldest alumni here, because I participated in IO back in 2018, and I got bronze medal back then. The fun fact: the medal was actually the first medal for my country, because IO itself is started in 2018, so it is the first medal for my country. And I know the information about the IEO from the delegation in Indonesia. And I think that's a good news for Indonesia. Especially, we didn't expect that actually there is a international level for economics Olympiad. So I think it's a good one. And for the IO itself, I think it's quite interesting because I must say that the preparation and the IO itself, it provide me with countless knowledge that is very helpful for me in university and in my career journey. So I think that's all for me.
That's so cool, especially considering that was the first medal for your country. That must be an awesome experience. I'm really glad that after so many years, you're still kind of in touch with the IO community. And thank you very much for coming today. So, Vasilis, would you please mind to introduce yourself and talk about how you discovered the IO and about your participation experience?
Yeah, of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Vasilis. I'm from Greece, as already mentioned. I participated in the IO 3 times in total, winning a silver medal in the last year in Tholos, Greece. Right now, I'm studying medicine, and I discovered about the IO when I was still in high school. I participated in all 3 classes of the senior high school we got in Greece, and it really was a motivation for me in order to study economics as a hobby, since I was mainly occupied with preparing for medical school and studying other topics as well. And I really liked competing to school competitions as well. I discovered IO through my school, which school was letting students participate in the national competitions, and so I qualified for this. And it was overall a great experience, which lets every participant, I guess, discover their potential and their, up to some extent, actually their goals and their future journey through science, I guess.
That's so cool, especially considering that you're actually pursuing medicine right now, and maybe through the questions that I'll ask later, can talk more about how IO kind of help you to, I don't know, to follow up with economics and actually pursue for some time a discipline that is not the main one that you're pursuing now. So my second question would be, how did you guys prepare for the IO? Like, was it through the national teams, maybe self-study, or you had some like additional classes at school or different academic centers? Yeah, Tamini, I guess you can start.
Okay, sure. So good question. I think a lot of my so for Malaysia selection process, we also have a national test before we go to the there's an initial national test, and then there's like a second screening camp for the people who rank the highest in the first national test. And I think for the first 2 stages of selection, there was a lot of self-studying, kind of using online references, the past papers for the IEO, and a lot of, and like just going through the core econ textbook that was recommended as well. But I think after qualifying for the team, we did have our coach who was very helpful, and especially in preparing for the business case. But we were still self-studying and also peer studying, I guess, at that time with my team. Yeah.
Cool. And Ricky, what about you?
Yeah, I think my journey is quite similar with Tamini. So actually in Indonesia, there's a competition starting from the city level until the national level. And then at the national level, there will be some selection from the committee, maybe around 3 to 5 people, 2 to 5 students to participate in the IEO. And then for me itself, I prepare for the IEO since maybe from my 10th grade. And from my school provide a special class dedicated for students who would like to study more about economics, especially in Olympiad preparation. So I think it's such a blessing to have a school that is really support me. And also, I have to say that the government also support us really well because they provide us with a lot of training, a lot of learning schedule. So yeah, I think we have a comprehensive learning schedule from the government itself also.
I think that that's really cool that there is such initiative at your school, because from what I know, a lot of people are kind of having difficulties with balancing the Olympiad preparation and then kind of following the curriculum at school. I was kind of lucky to be studying at the best Olympiad school in my country, which had a specialized Olympiad curriculum, which made things much easier for me at high school. But yeah, Vasilis, what's your story here?
Yeah, for me, it was not like the stories mentioned, since I was studying for something completely different at the same time. It was a bit tricky, but what happened with me is that, as I already said, it was 3 times that I participated in the Olympiad. So the studying was built up through the years a bit. When I got to the IO in the first time, I mainly studied from the economy by core, the book. And actually, in Greece, when we qualified for the Olympiad, we get to the University of Thessaly and have some preparation there. So we had some preparation with the professors from the university through lessons and past papers and stuff like that, as everyone, I guess. And then I was studying every year for the competition. So at the end, the knowledge had built up to a point that I would contend for a medal. So that's how it worked out. Since in Greece we don't have such curriculums in school, for example, where you study specifically for the Olympiad, but you need to study as everyone does, and especially if you want to, at the end, to get to university in a completely different field, you need to study both of those as well.
Oh, so a quick question. Participating 3 consecutive years in the IEO, didn't the preparation kind of get repetitive or maybe boring in some parts?
Well, it could be, but it didn't, because we were 5 that qualified for the Olympiad. So basically, the preparation was actually kind of tailor-made each year, since not only me, there were other students as well that participated multiple times. Actually, this year, there's a participant that this year is his 3rd time, actually. So this is something that can happen. And thus, depending on the level of the participants every year, the preparation was slightly different. And since the Olympiad is evolving based on the papers, that the past papers, the preparation is different every year as well.
Oh, so not that repetitive after all.
Not yeah, exactly.
So thank you very much for sharing. I would like now to introduce Jason from Taiwan. Could you please tell us more about yourself, and also talk a bit about your IO experience and how you prepared for the IO?
Yeah, for sure. So sorry for the delay. I had something that was like emergency that
Totally
came up.
fine. Don't even
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah. So I'm Jason. I participated in IEO 2022 as part of Team Taiwan. I went to like an international high school, and now I'm at Stanford University as a rising sophomore. And how I prepared for IEO, I think it started from like AP micro and macroeconomics. That's when I started to touch on some like economic concepts, and from there I kind of have like a huge interest in economics, and I knew about like IEO, the competition. And then I think initially I read from like one of the suggested textbook, which is like Core. I think someone mentioned it also earlier. And I think I looked at a lot of like case studies from the internet. Like there are some like you can just try search up like case studies, business case using those keywords on YouTube or Google, and you can find out some like examples. I think those are pretty helpful. Um, After that, I think I look at IEO, past IEO papers, past IEO exams, past Taiwanese Economic Olympiad exams. I think past papers definitely help a lot, and you'll learn a lot from there, especially when you like go back and reflect on the questions you got wrong on. And eventually, for after you get selected to like the national team in Taiwan, we also get to have like a 2 weeks of intensive training where we just stay all together, and then every night we'll just like practice on some sort of like business case, and we do a lot of papers. There were some speakers that came in and then they explained like a lot of like economic concepts super well. There were like demand and supply and those kind of graphs. There were also some like mathematical calculations that we were taught on. I think those are like super helpful, not only for IEO, but also for like your life and also your everyday life at college, or like even when you're doing your internship, for examples, those can get pretty helpful. So yeah, that's pretty much my overall IEO experience. Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty similar. It's more like, you know, we also, my country also have those kind of summer camps where we also gather, have those intensive practice trainings before the competition. Um, so I think we also have Manoj today. He was a bit late, but Manoj, you can introduce yourself now and again talk about a bit about your IO experience and how you prepared for it.
Yes. Hello everyone. My name is Manoj Nath Yogi, and I participated in International Economics Olympiad in 2020, the first year when it was held virtual. So, the first time I got to hear about the competition was, so we have a national competition. So Nepal Economics Olympiad, it held its regional competition. So we have state-wise selection, and then from there we were 70 of us got into the capital of Nepal, Kathmandu, and then from there, top 5 were selected to participate in the IEO. So this was my first Olympiad experience, and it was really awesome. I never got to had such competition ever in Kathmandu. So from there on, we were guided until the day of the competition. So we had classes almost every alternative days. So we have classes of like 2 hours every alternative days, and then have assignments to do. So we're yeah, following the same syllabus like core economics, McKinsey case studies, financial literacy game website to practice on the game. Yeah, pretty much similar to how everybody did. And yes, the competition was held virtual, but even the virtual experience was really good. So I'll say it was a good experience on that.
Yeah, it's actually cool that you try to make the best of that experience since the IO was supposed to be held offline in Kazakhstan, but you know,
Yeah,
due to Corona. But it's still good that, you know, everyone could participate in the IO online. Of course, it's not the same experience as offline, but still. Okay, so my next question would be, what was the hardest part of your preparation and how did you deal with it? Like, the hardest part, I mean, maybe some challenging topics or balancing with other academic responsibilities at school, you know, time management, anything like that. So I guess, Tamini, you could start.
Yeah, good question. I think I had my biggest challenge is really just struggling to find enough time to study and really like go through the papers, because I think that at the time that I was leading up to the IEO, I was interning full time. So I was like working 10 to 7, and I was also part of the student organization for Malaysians called the ICMS. So we were hosting a lot of events, and a lot of our flagship events sort of happened around the same time as IEO, a little bit after. So it was really peak period. I was having a lot of meetings. So for me, putting aside the time to study was quite difficult. So I tended to like squeeze in sessions in the morning, and I tried to attend the calls our team would have to prepare. But yeah, I think probably one of my quote unquote regrets is not studying enough for the IEO. So I would say that like the part where like I kind of didn't focus as much on was maybe the financial literacy game, comparing like, you know, business case prep and the studying for the multiple choice questions and stuff. So
Oh,
that was my experience.
I think we can
Yeah.
definitely relate. Actually, last year there was on the online track there was this game where you had to put the words. So, for example, I hate and a word that starts with an F, and then someone wrote financial literacy game. It was really fun. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Ricky, what about you? What was the hardest part of your IO preparation?
Okay, so actually, it's already a long, long way ago, yeah. So I actually quite forgot. But as long as I can recall, yeah, I understood that the preparing for the competition itself is already difficult. But the another thing that kind of affected me back then is because I want to enjoy my high school life the same as another high school students. Well, we know that if we want to participate in IEO, then we have to be full our best. We have to give our best. So we have to spare a lot of time to study and etc. and every day. And back then, I just want to chill out with my friends. I want to play games with my friends. So I think it's quite a trade-off between spending time with friends and enjoying high school life, yeah, and trade-off with the IEO preparation. But I chose to focus on the IEO actually, and I think I
You made
made a wise decision. No regret at all.
Yeah. It's a very interesting thing that you're kind of talking about, because I think taking part in such high quality competitions with so many different countries joining, it's not just about luck. Okay, it's really, really hard work that you are making, and then a bit of luck when it comes to certain parts of the competition rounds. So yeah, so sometimes you do have to sacrifice either your family time or, you know, time that you spend with your friends to pursue something. And it's also at the age of high school students, it's kind of hard because how are you supposed to know what to do at that age? You know, you already have to decide kind of on the subjects you want to pursue. You need to devote a lot of time to studies, and sometimes it can be depressing. But thank you so much for kind of shedding light on those issues. So Vasilis, what was the hardest part for you?
Yeah. Well, actually, the hardest part was combining studying economics with all the subjects I had to study as well for my future studies. And actually, I was participating in other competitions as well. For example, some biology competitions. So I had to study those as well. But I managed to keep up with everything through studying economics mainly during the weekend, and especially during the summer period where we didn't have schools, and I was studying like for 2 months full time previous to the IO. So basically, that's how I managed to keep a balance with everything. During the year, the school year, I was mainly focused on the school things and the subjects I had to study for the exams for university, for example. And then during the summer, I was studying economics and whatever made me happy while studying.
I don't know. I like have a feeling that you also took part in some very huge competitions in biology and other subjects related to medicine. I don't even want to ask how you managed all of this, but I will say that you probably have great time management skills, at least from everything that I'm seeing now. But yeah, thanks for sharing. So Jason, what about you?
Yeah, I think honestly pretty similar to other people. Um, because like I remember I joined IO for the summer in between my junior and senior year. So that was also like the time where all like the college apps are due. You have to write a lot of essays or other like activities and APs going on. So I think a big part of like what I went through was like fear of missing out. There are a lot of resources to study. Imagine like the book Core. Just like by saying Core alone, like I think Core has like hundreds of pages. Definitely you're not gonna be able to go through all the resources you have. But I think not having enough time, I totally agree. Like um that's all the time you have and you have to make the most out of it. So I would say just like focus on like the resources you think that are the most important. And this could be different for different people. So for me personally, I focus on like past papers a lot. I think by doing the past papers and learning from like the mistakes that I see from what I made from the past papers, I really learned a lot from there. So I guess like that was probably my suggestions. Yeah.
Yep, thank you very much for sharing. And well, that's basically what past papers are meant for, to see what kind of mistakes other participants or you potentially would have done, and then trying to eliminate those. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So my next question would be, apart from the competition rounds of the IEO, did you maybe participate in other competitions related to business, economics, research, maybe other subjects like Vasily, some with biology?
For me,
I think Family could start.
okay, sorry.
So you were asking if we mixed like studies with other subjects. Do you want to just know like about pre-IEO or
No, in general, if you participated in other competitions other than IEO, like it could be other economics competitions, research,
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would say that a lot of the competitions I participated in were sort of economics related. So as I kind of knew that's what I wanted to study. So I think the IEO was probably the biggest one, but I also did participate in more business case competitions at home, or I would go to economics conferences or like summits hosted by student organizations or universities back home in Malaysia as well. So a lot of it was either econs related or business related. So I think the area where I didn't explore as much, if you want to compare like the three areas of the IEO, was probably financial literacy. So I didn't quite join like a lot of other science. Although I had interests, it was more of like, oh, I like to watch YouTube videos about this, but not to the extent of like or joining competitions. I think I was quite focused in that sense.
Yeah. Those 20-minute videos, I don't know. Can you briefly talk about the Roman Empire or something like that, especially before tests? Yeah, I can relate. So yeah, Ricky, what were the other competitions that you took part in aside from the IO?
Yeah. So maybe the same like Tamini. So I participated in, I think like more than 100 competition, but all the competitions is actually related to economics. Maybe either economics, accounting, business, or about the taxation. But one thing for sure is, when I participated in all of the competitions, the core knowledge that I used to compete with another the other participant is actually coming from the preparation of IEO. So I might say that the preparation of the IEO gave a lot of impact for me, not only in the IEO itself, but it also supported me in another competition because, well, the problems that is given in IO is quite difficult and it's quite challenging. So if we are able to solve the problem, I think it is very possible for us, for me especially, to solve another problem in other competitions. But among all of the competitions, I have to say that IO still is the most prestigious competition in economics.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's indeed a very big and cool competition. combining different aspects of economics like financial literacy, also doing business cases, and also with the experience of different countries taking part, like a lot of countries, it's especially if you are doing it offline, it's a very cool experience. Thanks for sharing. So Vasilis, what about you? You briefly mentioned biology Olympiads, but was there something else, maybe other subjects?
Apart from my occupation with economics, I participated in some business competitions organized by Junior Achievement. They're very well known, I guess. And apart from that, the national biology competition, British Biology Olympiad. So basically, I got some taste of that as well. See.
Oh.
But overall, yeah, I guess IO stands out mainly because of its difficulty and because you need to demonstrate that you can use economic principles in order to use them while you're thinking. So it needs economic thinking, and I guess no other competition judges that so much. So you don't only need to demonstrate knowledge, but also the right way of thinking, which is very important, I guess. It's not only knowing about how to answer some questions, since that's available online always, but you need to know how to think and provide some answers, I guess.
Yes, in addition, I think to many other science Olympiads that exist, I think something that makes the IO special is also the teamwork, with the business case, then also they're testing your presentation skills, the skills that, you can convince other people, e.g. the jury or the audience, that your solution is probably the best or the most optimal one. So I think that is also what makes the IO special. It's like it's a competition for quite well-rounded people, I would say, not just testing the ability of choose out of the multiple choice, so whatever questions, and just write the answer to the open question. So yeah, thanks for sharing. Jason, what about you? Any other competitions?
Yeah, I think I also joined like quite a few other like business case competitions, but none of them low-key has like both like the principles of economics plus applying them into like real life situations. So I think that's really what makes the IEO special. And also like I think for other, at least for me, other competitions that I joined are more like they're a little bit shorter. And then for IEO, even though in my year it was like online, but we still get to have some like opportunity to connect with other teams from other countries. And everyone is like super talented. So I think like being able to connect is also one of the special things about IEO.
Yeah, definitely. I think again, as mentioned before, through business cases is also a good thing that if you're taking part, let's say in the open track, then you are assigned with other people that are probably in the time zone, and you can meet new people. If we're talking about the main track of the IEO, then it's again connecting with people from your particular country and being able to work together with them. So yeah, I think we could probably go to my next question. Could you please tell me, now that you kind of have told me about your experience taking part in the IEO and preparing for it, and also about other academic competitions that you were part of, what was your main motivation to participate in the IEO? Like, what were you hoping to learn or to achieve? And basically, why the IEO?
Okay. So I think for me, it was more about I knew I really liked economics and I wanted to sort of do it to like the highest level possible. And then for me, like the IEO was like a natural choice of let me see if I can get to this level. I also challenged myself to really deep dive into economics. So that was one reason. But I would say the second reason is definitely just being able to meet lots of different like-minded people. And I think that was honestly like the best part of the IEO last year physically for me, like meeting like really and making good friends with the team from like Switzerland, from Hong Kong, some of whom like I'm still keeping in touch with. So I think that was a very fulfilling experience because it's very interesting to see like, oh, there are all these other people who are really interested in econs. Like what are they doing? What projects are they doing? Where are they going? What are they going to study? That was a very appealing aspect of the IEO for me. and the second reason why I really wanted to join.
Exactly. I think also when you're kind of communicating with other people, you can see the different approaches to economics as a science in different countries. So basically, my country, Russia, the approach that we have to economics, I think it's more math-based. So a lot of questions are really testing your math skills, the ability to do the calculations, and we don't really focus on, let's say, other important aspects like the history, economics, let's say, or maybe not really practicing that much of doing the business cases. And then some people from other countries, they focus more on economics as a social science and probably do less calculations. And when you talk about it, you kind of also get the different perspectives and different approaches to economics. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. So Ricky, what about you?
Okay, so for me, actually, the main motivation why I joined the competition is about self-actualization because I have talent, especially in understanding academic subject. So back then, I chose economics, and I'm trying my best to master it very well. And beside of the self-actualization, actually by participating in IEO and studying economics, it also helped me to achieve my other life goals, such as pursuing my career as consultant. So I believe that actually IEO is maybe confident enough I have to say that IEO is the best stepping stone that we can utilize if we want to pursue our career in maybe a career related to economics. So, for example, I pursue my career in consultant, especially in tax consultant. By participating in IEO, by preparing for the IEO, I can get a more comprehensive understanding about the macroeconomics that happen not only in my country but also in the world level. So I think, yeah, it is a good motivation for us to study more about economics and participate in IEO.
Yeah, basically that's some kind of hands-on experience to some extent. Overview of what you're going to do for your undergrad and graduate studies. So yeah, I think it's also very cool aspect that you highlighted here. So Vasilis, what about you?
Yeah, so basically, in Greece there were many other options as well, other than the IO, in order to participate in economics competition. But I decided to choose IO since it's the most prestigious one and the most difficult one. So basically, I thought that if I have to decide which one I would participate, I would like to get to the one that's more challenging for me and that lets me demonstrate my ability and my knowledge furthermore than the other ones. So basically, that was the motivation why I chose the IO specifically. And more generally, I decided to participate in a competition that was IO because I think that this is a good motivation to study more and maybe test yourself in what you know, comparing to other students of the same or higher level studies. So
Yeah, I get it, and also it's really like impressive that I mean IO as mentioned, as you mentioned, and everyone else is a quite decent and very hard competition, and being able to succeed in both medical science and then economics, and being equally like good at both, it's really like it's really impressive. Thanks for sharing. So Jason, could you tell us what's your perspective on that? Why the IO?
Yeah, I think IEO is also like the largest like business related, econ related competition in Taiwan. So that's definitely one of the reasons. But also back at that time, I was focused more on like economics. I was studying AP econ. I was doing some econ research. But I feel like it's also important to apply these sort of concepts. Like it will be useless if we just like know like concepts, econ concepts. We also have to know how to use it in real life. How is it related to our everyday life or everyday business? So my initial thought was just like, I really hope to join IO in order to turn the econ concepts that I have learned into like real life situations. Yeah.
Yeah, again, hands-on experience, and it's so cool you can already do that in high school, and it's like a preview if you're like kind of, I don't know if I want to pursue economics for my undergrad or not. I think academic competitions can kind of be indicators of whether this is something that you would be, you would like to do during those 4 years at uni. Yeah, thank you so much for highlighting this aspect. So my next question would be, apart from the competition rounds, did you participate in any non-contest parts like lectures, cultural events, social events? Yeah, oh, Thamini has to go. It's totally fine, but thank you very much for being able to join us today. It's really valuable that you were here. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Do you want me to answer your last question before
Yes.
I
Yes.
Okay. So I think during the IEO, I was really glad that we had a couple of cultural events. I think like the first day after the opening ceremony, we had like a really nice dinner as well as like a showcase. So every country got to show off like the cultural attire, share a few things about their country, like interesting facts, and also show us like a dance. I think we had like a performance. So for me, that was really exciting, but also really appreciated like the IEO team taking us around Volos, just to go sightseeing, and like see the beaches as well as some of like the more historical parts of the city. So those were very fun. Those are fun memories, and I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
That basically, yeah, the community aspect, it's wonderful in any competition, and something, all those connections, networking things, that you can get from those academic competition, besides testing your skills, it's also a very cool thing that you can get. But yeah, thank you so much for attending. Bye.
Bye.
Ricky, I guess you can share your experience with that and tell us more about. I mean, it was like in 2018, it was like the first IEO, and I'm really interested in what kind of events they had back then.
Yeah. So actually, we had the same event. So there is like a talent show night where every participant, especially for each country, we are asked to show maybe like our cultural in front of the all of the participant. And back then, my friend and I from Indonesia, we show maybe a traditional dance from Indonesia. If I'm not mistaken, the name is Mau Mere. So actually, it is like a move for sport actually, but it's a traditional sport. And I remember that actually, when we show the dance in front of the participant, I'm real surprised because all the participants really like it and they start to dance it as well. So I think it's a very wonderful experience, and I think that's what's the best. What is the best from the IEO because the competition gave us opportunity to get to know and have direct interaction to other participants, which is coming from other countries. And yeah, I can't agree more with you, Milana, that networking is one of the most important thing that we must have, especially when we are entering the adult life, the career life. I think networking is really, really important. And the IEO gave us important to have, gave us a really good lesson to have a proper network with other people in other countries as well.
Yeah, definitely couldn't agree more with that. Also seeing so many, basically one of the most talented people in the field of economics from all over the world, all in one event. It's like it's the perfect opportunity to do the networking and get those unique perspectives. Yeah, thank you very much. So, Vasilis, what was your experience?
Well, actually, it was a very nice one. It was for both 3 years, but more last year than it was on-site, because the previous years it was online. And obviously having an Olympiad on-site is much more inclusive in terms of getting to know new people and in terms of say connections. So basically, it was really nice that we met all those people. And in terms of the events we had there, there was a cultural night as well, and we went sightseeing. Although I'm from Greece, it was a very fun experience as well because it was with all the participants there. It was nice to show them around, and yes, the fact that we had the opportunity to get to know each other more and meet all those people that we have common characteristics, and it was a very nice experience.
Yeah, since taking into account that last year's IEO was held in Greece, it was kind of probably especially memorable since it was in your home country, and then you kind of, people from all over the world arrived in Greece and, maybe ask you some questions about the country itself. It was kind of really cool that the IEO was hosted there. Yeah.
And it was very funny because when we were going out, for example, and to go sightseeing, it was some Greeks with some people from other countries, and obviously people were asking, how is this possible that you're like here? There's a group of people that are from 5 or 6 different countries. What's going on? It was very fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. It must have been. Thanks for sharing. So Jason, what about you?
Yeah, for me it's a little bit more unfortunate, because during my year it was online. So I remembered I joined one of like the social events, but it was still super fun. Like we get to know each other, and I think I remembered like we even created like our own Zoom background. So yeah, it was super fun, the social events, but it was just a little bit unfortunate we didn't get to meet in person. So I feel like if you could attend in person, then do it. Yeah.
But it must have been so fun attending in person. Yeah, it's unfortunate you couldn't do that. But I mean, it's also fun you could create your own Zoom backgrounds. That's also so cool. I wish I
Yeah.
could create because this one's a bit boring to be honest. Oh, well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing. My next question would be, since we started to discuss networking, meeting new people, do you still communicate with any of the participants or maybe the teammates from your country from, the IEO? Like, do you still keep in touch? I don't know, shoot each other messages or memes over Insta or something like that? Ricky,
so
I
maybe
guess answer.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been like what, 6 years since 2018. It's going to be like, wow, keeping in touch with people after 6 years. It's going to be hard and amazing if you actually are still in touch with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. I still manage to still communicate with one of my team member from Indonesia in the same IEO in 2018. We were joining the same, like, maybe the same project, especially project in teaching our new high school students to participate in the Olympiad. So we teach the Olympiad preparation right now. And for another participant for another country, yes. But actually, my last communication is way back then with other participant from another country. Maybe like around 1 to 2 years after the IEO. So maybe around 2019 to 2020, if I'm mistaken. So I remember I contacted participant from Malaysia. Their name is Bashir and Nicole when I visited their country. So actually, we arranged to have a meetup, have a catch-up session, but unfortunately, the meeting didn't happen because our schedule is quite packed and we can't match our schedule. So unfortunate, but yes, we still communicate uh, using IG, using Instagram. Maybe yeah, 1 or 2 moments we reply our story and etc. Their story and etc.
Maybe any projects that you were working on together or research, by any chance?
Maybe yeah, no, I have no chance working with another participant in my current project. That's so unfortunate. But I believe that those people, the IO participants, are actually great people who have a great understanding in economics. I think it will be fun to work with them in projects. But unfortunately, yeah, there is no project available. Mm.
Well, anyways, it's still good that you're keeping in touch. So maybe in the future. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. So, please, what about you?
Well, yeah. Obviously, since I participated 3 times, it's more natural to have more people that I keep in touch with. I've kept in touch with members from the national team from all 3 years that I participated. The IEO, actually, with some of them, we participated together as a team to the Winter Challenge as well, the preceding year. And actually, in 2022, I met some people from Switzerland. They were team leaders that year, and they were participants previous year.
Oh,
So we were the same age, like generally speaking, and we had some great time together there. And they came to Greece during the summer to have a holiday together. Then I met them again during the next IO where they came back, and now we keep in touch with them as well. So I've made some friends through the IO, obviously.
that's a cool experience. Sorry to interrupt. Ricky has to go now, but thank you so much for attending. And I mean, someone from 2018, like, wow, you showed up here today. Thank you so much. It was amazing to have you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
So I also heard that you in Greece, you have this tradition for the national competition of economics. So basically, if you win it, then the award to you will be awarded next year. So basically, this way you come and also see the new participants and winners of the Olympiads, and it's cool. Is that true?
Yeah, indeed, that's true. So
Oh,
but by doing this, you also meet some new people, get to talk with them, and you also get to see old friends or acquaintances anyway. So basically, you keep in touch with all the community of the national competition, at least, as well. Yeah, and it is fun because you get to see the new participants as well after you're an alumnus. So basically, now that I don't participate in that, I it was a great experience. Yes, indeed.
yeah, that's very interesting because I never really heard any other country to have this thing. Maybe just because I don't know, but anyways, it's a cool tradition. Thanks for
Indeed.
sharing. Jason, what about you? Anything to tell us, or maybe some creative projects that you tried it, or startups that you tried it to start after the IO?
With IO people?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately not, but maybe in the future, yeah. Yeah, for me, I think different from other people, it was online in my year. So I didn't really get into like too deep of like a contact with other teams, unfortunately. But I met up with like IO 2022 Team Taiwan actually just earlier this month. All of us were there together, and we even went back to like this year's IEO training camp in Taiwan, and then we met up like the new batch of Team Taiwan this year. So it was super cool. Yeah.
Maybe in the future some of the projects, but still it's cool that although you didn't establish any deep bonds, but you kind of still talk to people and got these different perspectives. I mean, it's so cool. Thanks for sharing. Manoj, what about you? Anything interesting to tell us?
Nothing much, but over the past year, since the participation in 2020, I have been in touch with the participant from Bangladesh. So yeah, he's the one with whom I have a conversation time and again. Besides that, the participants from the national competition. So yeah, we have conversation a lot and also meet a lot in United States or in Nepal. And besides that, over the past year, one interesting thing that has happened is like I get message requests either in Instagram or in LinkedIn from the participants from other countries asking for assistance in either BCA or financial literacy game. So I just kind of try to help them collaborating with my national team, and so just creating some YouTube videos and then sharing the links for the FLG and similar for the BCA and economics resources. So that's one of the other interesting things that's happened. So other than that, I don't think I've been in touch with anybody else, except for this thing. Yeah.
You're almost like a mentor right now. People are referring to you for advice and sending you messages. That's so cool. You're like the guru of the IEO that passes on the knowledge to the younger generations. That sounds a bit cringe, but it's also really cool. Yeah, thanks thanks for sharing. I had a very funny story where it's not the IEO, but like I met some people in a random research competition, and then we decided to do some research together. It was back in we're entering high school, and then we tried to send our work to a very serious journal, and we kind of succeeded. Yeah, I couldn't have imagined to do that with any of my peers from I don't know, like my school or and we even tried to start a startup. It didn't survive, but at least we started. So yeah, that's already progress. Maybe someday in the future we'll work on that. And yeah. Anyways, do you like let's talk a bit more about entering the university life. So many of you mentioned that you are pursuing economics right now, or as in case of Vasilis, he's pursuing medicine. So for those who are pursuing economics, did you like always have the vision that I want to study economics, or were you like also considering other fields? And do you think that maybe participating in economics competitions like the IEO somehow help you to decide on the field that you want to pursue? Jason, I guess you can start here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for me, my major is called Management Science and Engineering. So it's a little like business, but approach it in also like an engineering way with like a mix of a little bit of like CS, a little bit of like, it's kind of like a broad major, but I think in some ways also highly related to econ. For me, back at my time, I was not sure about what I'm gonna pursue in college. But after IEO, I think I become really determined that I'm gonna do something like business or econ related. Yeah, I think IEO, like it's an opportunity for you to know whether this is what you're gonna do, what you're gonna like in the future. So I will say if you're interested in like econ, or if econ is one of your choices that you hope to pursue in the future, definitely do IEO, which will pretty much give you like a bigger picture of like whether you're gonna like it in college or not. Yeah.
And Manoj, what do you think about it?
So yeah, right now I'm studying in Howard University in DC. My major is computer science, but I'm minoring in economics and math. Yeah, so the interesting thing that happened is, so at first I was admitted with the major in economics, but I dropped it as soon as I found that you got to study a lot of other things than just economics, like language, humanities, other health classes, and so on, so on. So I didn't want to do that, so I just switched to computer science because it's more technical. What was the question actually?
I also ask whether participating in academic competitions like the IEO kind of help you to, well, maybe you initially thought that you want to pursue economics, and when you participated in the IEO, you're like, oh yes, that's a match. I want to pursue economics for my undergrad. That was basically also the question. But as you now explained, you decided to switch your majors because you wanted to do something more STEM related, something more technical. Also, you mentioned that you were in Howard University, so it's like Washington, D.C., right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm in Connecticut. It's not that far away.
Yeah, I've been here for last month to participate in because there are a lot of insurance companies over there, and to learn about how they were using economics and AI to manage the financial risks. So that was an awesome experience. It's a beautiful city. Yeah. So I'll
Cool.
say IU, it's the epicenter for me to start my career in economics. I'll say academics in economics. A lot of friends who I made since from the economics Olympiad, they actually motivated me to apply to United States and other universities outside of Nepal. So I will say everything that I am right now in is all because of the economics Olympiad, the national competition and international competition. IEO medal was one of the top two ECAs that I was reflecting in my application. So yeah, I think that's also one of the primary reason for me being in US. So yeah, I'll say it's everything that I have written. So
Oh, so
smart.
you mentioned that you mentioned economics, the IO in your EC. So you think it kind of helped you to, I don't know, with your admissions, you think it was a valuable addition to your portfolio when applying?
Yeah, I think it was the most valuable addition.
Oh, okay. Cool. So Vasilis, again, did you have this, I don't know, like desire to maybe switch to economics after maybe taking part in the IO and succeeding there? Maybe you thought something like, oh, you know what? I actually started liking economics a lot and I don't want to really pursue medicine anymore. In addition, why do I need to do both of them? Did you have like any type of intrusive thoughts like that, or yeah, maybe
I'll tell you. Well, actually, I wanted to study medicine like long before I started having some connection with economics. So I wanted to do that besides what I was doing with the IO. But starting to getting related to economics and participating in the IO and doing well in it, I actually had doubts and second thoughts, of course, about whether my decision to study medicine is correct, whether I should pursue that or study economics. And actually, in Greece, getting a medal in the IO actually qualifies someone to get to the university of their choice in a major in economics. So basically, I would have the opportunity to study economics wherever I wanted in Greece with a medal. But I decided to study medicine because I really liked economics, but as a hobby and as a science to study for my own and not to make it my full-time profession.
yeah,
It would be something completely different. So I prefer to, for at the moment, of course, to stay an amateur economist. Say
you were in a committed relationship with medicine. I understand.
But of course, that does not mean that I wouldn't have anything to do with economics in the future, because the the science of economics is applied to every other aspect of life, obviously in all professions. So basically, that knowledge and the skills I've demonstrated through the IO and through my occupation with economics does not go to waste, but could be applied to my future profession, of course.
Definitely. I think that whichever profession you choose, I think it's really important to know languages, first of all, because they open doors, and secondly, being financial literate so people don't scam you, and you know additional ways to scam other people, but so yeah. I think economics is really something important that everyone should study despite their profession. So I couldn't agree with you more. And I definitely don't think that the fact that you study economics and it just went to waste. Again, as mentioned before, it's really important that you're financial literate, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I guess that's the end of our conversation for today. I want to thank you all for coming and for taking part. It was really funny, and seeing people all the way from 2018, like wow, I didn't know they were alive. Like no, of course they were, but like they weren't really active, in the community. So seeing some of them today was really cool, and seeing people from the US. Maybe we could meet up sometime, Manoj, if you're somewhere in Connecticut or New York City, because I'll be somewhere there around. That's cool. And also
Right in Boston.
oh yeah, sure. Yeah, go on with your question.
Yeah, I also want to thank you that you agreed to take part in our event. Maybe also, well, I will communicate with my colleagues and we will come up with other events where we can invite you and maybe post some info about you in our social media, but we will handle this because we are very glad that you have so many memories about the IO, and we're happy that these memories they are really happy memories, I would say. So thank you very much. Yeah, maybe now we can finish. Yep, thanks again for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. Was
Thank
it
you.
Thank you.